On my way to the most isolated inhabited island, this is the story of Pitcairn Island.
Islands often conjure images of paradise, but beneath the surface of some islands lurks a darker reality. These aren't the tropical escapes of daydreams, but places where history whispers of violence, tragedy, and the unexplained. From abandoned prisons echoing the screams of the past to the island of dead dolls with its terrifying history, these creepy islands tell haunting tales. So let's dive into the chilling history of the most creepy islands of all time. Number 1. Island of Dead Dolls. This is a real-life Annabelle Island, but the spooky part? You won't find just one Annabelle here, but a whole tribe. Located south of Mexico City in the canals of Xochimilco, the Island of the Dolls is a popular dark tourist attraction, especially for horror junkies. So what's the dark history behind these hanging creepy dolls on the island? Well, legend has it that a man named Don Julian Santana Barrera found the dead body of a young girl drowned in a river on this island. After recovering her body, the man started hanging dolls all around the island in order to appease her soul. I wonder how that can appease someone's soul, though. He continued this work and ended up hanging as many as 300 dolls on the island. These dolls can be seen hanging from trees or various objects. Some are mangled, some wrapped in cobwebs, some with missing body parts, some just beheaded. People believe that these dolls are possessed or even move on their own. Don't know about you, but that indeed creeped the hell out of me. Number 2, Devon Island. Next up, we have the largest uninhabited island on Earth, Devon Island. Located in the northern part of Canada, in the territory of Nunavut, this island is often called Mars on Earth. And why so? Devon Island is as barren as a desert, silent as space, and cold as the poles. Its harsh climate and remote location make life difficult. It's a vast, cold expanse with rocky plains stretching across the horizon. Cold, stormy winds howl, creating an eerie soundscape. There's almost no sign of life. Because of its similarities to Mars, scientists have been studying its climate and searching for any life forms that might exist. The island even harbors the Horton crater, believed to be the result of a meteorite impact some 39 million years ago. Spending months on this barren island for research would definitely be a psychologically challenging experience. Number 3, Bikini Atoll. Nuclear warfare has inflicted mass destruction throughout history. The worst part? The damage doesn't end with the blasts, it continues to ripple through generations. Bikini Atoll, a coral reef in the Marshall Islands, serves as a tragic example. Between 1946 and 1958, the US used it as a testing ground for nuclear weapons. Bikini Atoll was once home to a Micronesian community of 167 people. The nuclear testing left the land barren and the natural environment devastated. Radioactive contamination lingers to this day. These people were forcibly displaced from their homeland. Though they sought refuge elsewhere, the concept of home was forever lost. Some, tragically, even returned to the radioactive land. Today, they continue to live in these areas, exposed to dangerous radiation and fumes still present in the air. Imagine what must be going on in their bodies amidst all this radioactive environment. Number 4, Pavia Island. An island with a history full of cries, howls, and yearning for help. This is Pavia Island, also known as Venice's most haunted island, which stands today on the face of the earth with its dark history. Back in the 14th century, a contagious disease hit Europe. Thousands and thousands of cases were reported daily. Due to limited hospitals and treatment facilities, people resorted to sending the affected ones to a quarantine station. But this was no ordinary quarantine station. Here, people were kept in mass numbers, exposed to one another, devoid of basic facilities. In short, these people were left to die. Thousands of people were shipped to the island, and thousands died there. People were buried in mass graves on Pavia, but it didn't stop there. In the 18th century, Pavia became a dumping ground for the mentally ill. Several questionable practices, like lobotomies, were performed in the asylum. It was finally closed in 1968. What a tragic fate for people who contracted a contagious disease in the past. Number 5, Hart Island, one of the largest mass burial grounds in the world. Hart Island, located in the Bronx, New York City, is home to thousands of unclaimed bodies. Over the past, Hart Island has been used as a public cemetery dormitory, a mental asylum, a tuberculosis sanatorium, a military base, and a prison. According to estimates, over 1 million people have been buried in this, shows bodies being buried in trenches with no ceremony. Hart Island has been a subject of controversy throughout the past due to its mass burial practices. There is one ferry to the island every month, making it technically out of reach for family members. This burial ground was also used during the AIDS crisis in 1980. And did I tell you? During the recent health crisis, some of the unclaimed bodies were also buried here. Some clips even show bones from Hart Island mass graves washing up in local communities. Isn't that creepy as hell? Number 6. Hashima Island. Once a bustling hub of Japan's industrial progress, Hashima Island now stands as a collection of empty buildings and deserted houses. Back in 1890, Hashima Island was used for coal mining operations, attracting a large number of people from all over Japan in search of employment. However, Hashima Island's dark history began during World War II. Hundreds of Korean and Chinese prisoners were forced into labor on the island. The working environment was traumatizing. They faced hours and hours of long, tiring work, inhuman treatment, a humid climate, and scarce food. Many attempted escape, many died of illness, and some, unable to bear the hardship, took their own lives. Fast forward to 1970, when petroleum became an alternate source of fuel, Japan's coal industry faced a major setback. Industries were closed, and people left the island. Since then, Hashima Island has remained an abandoned place, with its high-rising buildings now overgrown by vegetation and an eerie silence replacing the industrial clamor. It's hard to imagine this desolate place as the center of Japan's industrial activity sometime in the past. Number 7. Luzon Island. An island steeped in a centuries-old tradition, the Igorot tribe in the northern Philippines practices the chilling ritual of hanging coffins on cliffs near the town of Sagada. So, what's the belief behind this ritual? The elders of the community believe that by hanging them on a cliff, the deceased are ascended higher towards the sky and are therefore closer to God. Thus, it's an easier passage to heaven. Some even believe the elders fear their dead will rot in the ground or be eaten by dogs. But that doesn't end there. They have many more associated creepy rituals. They bury their relatives in a fetal position because they believe a person should leave the world in the same position they entered. But how do they achieve this? You may not believe it, but by breaking the bones of the dead. Another ritual they perform during this process is the butchering of 3 or 5 animals, specifically 3 pigs and 2 chickens. Doesn't all that sound like the darkest of practices? Number 8. Island of Shikoku. Imagine seeking peace and comfort in a village only to encounter not 1, not 2, but 350 dolls lining the streets, piercing into your soul. An unsettling sight, wouldn't that be? This is Nagoro Village, located on the remote Japanese island of Shikoku. So what's the story behind these eerie dolls? Well, Nagoro, which today is home to just 40 people, wasn't always so sparsely populated. It used to be a bustling community. However, over time, the younger generation moved to larger cities, and the elderly passed away. As a result, the village shrank to its current size of just 40 people. Amidst all this, a local resident had a wild idea. An artist and native resident named Tsukimi Ayano started making human-sized dolls of people who had died or left. She displayed these dolls all across the village. Some of these dolls can be seen working in the fields, while others sit beside benches along the roads as if engaged in conversation. There are even dolls in the classroom, depicting them being taught by a human-sized doll teacher, and that's how the life-size dolls of Nagoro Village outnumbered the actual humans living there. What would it feel like to live among these creepy dolls? Number 9. Guola Island. They say money brings happiness, but that's not always true. Sometimes it brings a curse as well. This is the story of a cursed island, Guola Island, located off the coast of Naples, Italy. It's in fact 2 small islets connected by a narrow stone bridge with many caves along its rocky cliff. Legend has it that a hermit used to live on the island in the 19th century, and one day he suddenly disappeared. Since then, the island has been notorious for bringing a curse upon its owners and their families. And not just 1 or 2 owners, but every single one who has bought the island ever. Hans Braun, a German steel tycoon who bought the island in 1920, was found dead on the island shortly after the purchase, and later his wife was found drowned. Gianni Agnelli, the head of Fiat, lost his son in a boat accident near the coast of the island. More recently, Paul Getty III was kidnapped during his stay on the island. What more curse are you looking for? Number 10, North Sentinel Island. Who doesn't want a private life far from the chaos of the world? But this island took it to a whole new level. North Sentinel Island is home to the Sentinelese people, located in the Andaman and Nicobar Islands in the Bay of Bengal. Over the course of history, many attempts have been made to contact this isolated population. In 1867, a British colonial officer named Portman tried to establish ties with the people of North Sentinel Island by leading an expedition there. However, the expedition was met with arrows. Things changed a bit in 1991 when anthropologist Triloknath Pandit attempted the same feat, and unexpectedly, it resulted in peaceful contact. Should I tell you something even stranger? The Sentinelese people, who seemed receptive initially, reverted to their previous aggressive stance in 2004 when an Indian helicopter tried to provide assistance following a devastating earthquake. Once again, they responded with their signature form of violence, arrows. So what mysteries are the Sentinelese people hiding on their island? Why do they prefer to remain isolated, far from the reach of the outside world? Number 11, Papua New Guinea Island. You might be tempted by the beauty of the island at first sight, but a desire to see it could prove to be fatal. The island of Papua New Guinea has a history full of war, crime, violence, and more. Many indigenous tribes live there, and to this day, they continue to practice centuries-old traditions. Headhunting was a major violent activity in the area for a long time. People of the region engaged in aberrant activities as aberrant as cannibalism, and it doesn't stop there. The island is home to rugged mountains, dense rainforests, and dangerous wildlife. As if all that weren't enough, the island is notorious for its high crime rate: theft, carjacking, assault, and even murder. Even in the 21st century, the island remains a hub of tribal warfare in the mountains. So if you still want to visit the place, try to keep your wallet, phone, vehicle, and even your head safe. Number 12, Aokigahara. When you think of a forest, you think of greenery, wildlife, and gushing waters. But Aokigahara is different. It might lead you to end your life. Tall, towering trees, dense overgrowth, and an eerie silence can drive people crazy. Don't you believe it? Aokigahara has been a death destination in Japan for ages. Hundreds of deaths have occurred in the forest over the years. According to Japanese mythology, the forest has been associated with demons and vengeful spirits. Not only that, a volcanic rock beneath the forest floor renders your compass functionless, leaving you directionless in the center of this creepy place. So what do you think? Did these people really go there to end their lives, or were they compelled to do so by the creepy forest? Number 13. Lon Island. We have seen so many islands up until now, some cursed, some desolate, some violent, but this one island combines all these eerie elements into one unsettling experience. Located off the coast of San Francisco, the Farallon Islands are a small group of rocky islands with a desolate environment. The cold winds howl incessantly on the island, and strong currents have claimed many ships over the years. Not only that, the Farallons are home to a large population of great white sharks lurking in the dark, treacherous waters, so it's absolutely not a safe spot for swimmers and scuba divers. The island has been notorious for many suicides and accidents over the years, adding to its unsettling atmosphere. Not to mention, a large part of the island remains unexplored even today. So, would you risk visiting the Farallons, or would you prefer your dear life? Number 14. Spike Island. From the 1800s to 2000, Spike Island was one of the biggest prisons in Britain and Ireland, but not an ordinary one. Located off the coast of County Cork, Ireland, the island has a history full of brutal punishment and barbarism. From what history reveals, Spike Island, even today, is remembered for acts of barbarism and cruelty inflicted upon its inmates. Overcrowding, forced labor, violence, disease, and whatnot. It was almost the definition of hell on earth. The conditions were so unbearable in the prison that they drove hundreds insane and led many to end their lives. Since then, the island has earned the reputation of being haunted. Visitors to the island report strange noises, cold spots, and feelings of being watched. Number 15. Pitcairn Island. The descendants of the famous ship HMS Bounty inhabit Pitcairn Island. In 1789, the mutineers of the HMS Bounty, along with Tahitian men and women, formed a small, closed community. Since then, they have lived a rather isolated life, far from the reach of the outside world. Due to the small population of the island, inbreeding has been a major method of reproduction, which may have led to various genetic problems in the population. The island is still dominated today by a Seventh-day Adventist community known for its strict religious beliefs and practices. But that's not all. Many sex scandals involving underage girls and some of the island's leaders have been reported in the community. Now you know that the island has quite a disturbing reputation. Number 16. Socotra Island. Being separated from mainland Africa for millions of years, Socotra Island has undergone an evolution that is one of a kind. The biodiversity found on the island is unlike anywhere else on Earth. With over 800 endemic plant species, the island has earned the nickname Galapagos of the Indian Ocean. So what's the eerie part about the island? Well, there are a few. Some of the plant species, like the dragon's blood tree with its red sap and the upside-down bottle trees, seem quite mysterious and unsettling. The island has a rather alien landscape. With its strange biodiversity and eerie silence, you can't help but feel a rather creepy atmosphere. Legend has it that fire-breathing spirits and a mythical phoenix once nested on the island. Socotra Island indeed feels beautiful yet creepy at the same time. Number 17. Ramri Island. You have heard of enemy invasions many times, haven't you? But a crocodile invasion? This is the story of Ramri Island, a Burmese island with a dark history. During World War II, soldiers stranded on Ramri Island following a shipwreck met a tragic fate. They became the prey of giant, hungry, merciless crocodiles who tore them apart in a horrific sequence of events. Even today, remembering this incident from the past would make anyone shiver like crazy. Number 18. Snake Island. Would you like to visit Sao Paulo, where there's a snake on every square foot? Well, you just can't, because no human is allowed on the island. The island was once inhabited by people until the late 1920s, when a local family became the prey of vipers slithering in through windows. The last fisherman who traveled too close to the shore was found lifeless in his boat in a pool of blood. The government has banned the entry of humans due to its notorious deadly snakes. One of the deadliest serpents in the world, the golden lancehead snakes, are as many as 2,000 to 4,000 in number on the island. Their bite, powerful enough to kill a man within an hour. Number 19. Okunoshima, or Rabbit Island. More popularly known as Rabbit Island, Okunoshima is a small island located in the inland sea of Japan. The island earned its nickname due to its large population of friendly wild rabbits that freely roam and interact with visitors. But there's a dark history associated with the island. During World War II, Okunoshima wasn't a haven for fluffy friends, but a site for a sinister program. The island was chosen for its secluded location to keep the activities hidden. Chemical weapons were produced here, and some believe that these rabbits are the progeny of those used in chemical warfare experiments during World War II. So do the rabbits frolic in innocent joy, or are they silent witnesses to a haunting past? Number 20. Deer Island. Deer Island, located in the Mississippi Sound, is shrouded in dark legends and creepy tales. According to local folklore, the island was once a hub for pirates who buried their treasure there. But the island became famous for one such pirate who is said to haunt the island, eternally searching for his lost riches. Visitors have reported witnessing strange lights on the water, some attributing the phenomena to his restless spirit. To add to the creep, visitors have also reported hearing mournful cries of unseen birds. So is Deer Island a calm escape or a spooky prison for a greedy soul? Number 21. The Island of Daxa. During World War II, the island of Daxa was possibly used for military purposes. In October 1944, following the liberation of Dubrovnik by Yugoslav partisans, a massacre occurred on Daxa, resulting in the execution of several people, including Dubrovnik's mayor. Estimates of the number of victims range from 6 to 53. In 2009, a mass grave was discovered on the island, containing the remains of those executed. Despite this discovery, many questions about the massacre remain unanswered. Now uninhabited, Daxa is now a hub for local legends, attracting visitors to get answers to these mysteries. Is Daxa a forgotten paradise or a center of mysteries never answered? Number 22. Howland Island, a graveyard of forgotten souls. This is Howland Island, a remote speck in the Pacific Ocean steeped in chilling history and mystery. Throughout the years, castaways have perished here, their fates lost to time. The relentless sun bleaches the bones of those who couldn't escape. These were people who met their tragic fate on the island. And that doesn't end here. In 1937, famed pilot Amelia Earhart vanished near Howland Island while attempting to circumnavigate the globe. All this definitely adds to its aura of misfortune. Number 23. Alcatraz Island. Once home to America's most notorious criminals, Alcatraz Island now stands in the San Francisco Bay with a haunting legacy engraved in its prison walls. Simply being a prison for criminals like Al Capone and Robert Stroud, it exudes terror, solitary confinement, cramped cells, and constant surveillance. Such was the environment of this federal prison, a psychologically paralyzing experience for sure. Despite its reputation, daring escape attempts were made over the course of time. Some were successful. Some ended in cold-blooded shootouts. Number 24, Isle of Wight. Notorious for dark ancient Celtic practices, the Isle of Wight stands haunted amidst its rugged landscapes. The island was once sacred to druids, and weathered megaliths like the Needles are evidence of forgotten rituals and possibly darker rites. Folklore tells tales of phantom hounds. Their mournful cries send shivers through even the bravest of souls. Inhabitants of the island have reported numerous ghost sightings, unexplained voices, and possibly creepy encounters as well. And that was it for today. Hope you enjoyed the video. Which of these islands you found the most creepy of all? And which one do you prefer for your next spooky travel adventure? If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Also, don't forget to hit the bell icon to get all our videos on time. Until next time.